Hey guys, welcome into another testing video. Currently got two 6700 XTs on the bench and currently pulling about 176 watts on average. We are currently mining Ergo, and I'll jump into the software side and show you the hash rate and all that we're getting. Alright, we're in the software side of things now, so you can see roughly the hash rate we're getting. 183 for the rig, 91.5 mega hash per GPU. This does fluctuate sometimes, drops down a little bit, usually for about 30 seconds or so. I'll just refer to the stats to explain these dips here. So this has been running solid for this time shown here. So it does show that it's been a lower hash rate for 10 minutes. It had actually not been doing a lower hash rate for that whole time though. So what actually happened is there was a lower hash rate, like it dropped down for the 30 seconds or whatnot, and then it comes back up to the higher hash rate, about 183, and then drops back down again. And because this only takes like a little snapshot of the hash rate every 5 minutes, it just happened to coincide with when it was down in hash rate. Same here, and then all along here it was still going down those bits, like dropping down the hash rate. It just wasn't recorded because it was between those 5-minute intervals and it did not last 5 minutes. It does happen fairly frequently. I think it may have just happened there while I was in those stats, but potentially. Only lasts for a few seconds, so the only way that I'm going to include it in the numbers is to use the number 91 for the mega hash instead of 91.58 or whatever it's kind of getting. Usually it's about that, 91, well, it's usually 183.1 or 2, and it's fairly stable there except when it does one of the big drops. Can go down to like 60 megahash, I think, at the lowest per GPU, and then yeah, it comes back up pretty quickly, usually within 30 seconds. Power, so as we saw at the wall, 176 watts, minus 17 watts for system, which is tested how much the system uses, which is 159 watts remaining that we know the GPUs are using. Divide that by 2, 79.5 watts, and then we input those numbers here, which gives us an efficiency of 1.1446 mega hash per watt. So yeah, remembering that number, 1.144, we can have a look over in these two tabs here. 1.144 would put us all the way down here, so we've got about, what, 10 cards or so that are supposedly better on this algorithm. So it's not the best on this algorithm, that's for sure. And again, shown here, probably similar amount of cards shown as greater efficiency than this card. And also shown here in my own numbers, 1.144, and then, you know, we've got other GPUs that can do 1.2, 1.3, fairly standard. So yeah, we're not insanely efficient on this algorithm, but it's enough to be viable, I would say. It's definitely not going to, you know, be much of a hindrance on this algorithm. Like, it's not a bad card on this algorithm. Like, the ones highlighted in red would probably be considered fairly bad. This one here, by the way, because it's not highlighted in blue, it's not one of my numbers. I have not done that test. I missed that test, 6600 XT. Hopefully I'll get around to it at some point. Next time I have the 6600 XTs on the test bench. But yeah, so reasonably efficient, but not crazy efficient. Not like it has been on some of the other algorithms. Yeah, so looking at the overclock settings, I can show you 1125 was around about where I found the best efficiency. Going higher didn't really yield much more hash rate, and yeah, just used a little bit more power, which made it less efficient. and the same thing on the way down. You could reduce the core clock even more to reduce the power even more, but it would take the hash rate down further than the wattage really. So yeah, it was a little bit difficult to get the clocks on this one, so I found what I had to do was, usually what I do is reduce a certain setting all the way down and then leave it at what it is, and then go on to the next setting. And like, so I'd find the setting that crashed, say 825 crashed, I would leave it at 830. But on this one, this algorithm, I had to do it a little bit differently because, for example, I think it was the core clock, I had it down at like 630 or 640, and it was stable, it was great. Went down to the SoC setting, and I was at like 870, and I really wanted to get that lower because it has a huge effect on power, and the only way I could get it lower is when I released off all the other settings. Set this at like 670 or something, 680 even. Yeah, I went up to 680, and then I set the SoC first, and then I went back to core voltage and the other voltages afterwards. So I would probably recommend doing your finding your most efficient core clock first, or you can just copy this one, and then going, well, sorry, you should already have the most efficient memory clock in, and then setting your SoC first, finding the minimum value for the SoC VDD max, and then doing your core voltage and memory voltage and MV of VDDCI, so that one's probably the least important. Yeah, so it was a little bit funky with how I ended up at the numbers, but I eventually ended up there. Had to just go up and down on the core clock a few times as I was setting the SoC settings. So, but yeah, eventually got it. Having the SoC the lowest is probably the most important part, because it uses it changes the power draw quite significantly. Yeah, so pretty decent card on this algo, but nothing crazy special. That's pretty much all I have for this video. You can see it in comparison to all the other cards I've tested in here. And yeah, that's about it. So if this video helped you out in any way, leave a like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel, and have a great day. So yeah.